Was correct about that.
Let's give us a mic check right quick. Mic check, Doc.
1, 3, 4, 5. Mic check.
Good to go.
1, 2, 3. So I'm close enough to the phone.
Yes, sir, you are. We're rocking. Welcome to another edition of the Audit. Hey, you know me. I'm your host, Pertis Williams, and I got my favorite guest here with me, Dr. Henderson. How we doing today, Doc?
So we're doing well. I'm doing personally about 95%, and I got to work hard to get 5% more. So, so before 10 o'clock tonight. I'm going to work from up until 10 tonight. I started this morning.
Okay.
At 6 a.m., and I have to go until 10. And I haven't even done well. I'm just 95% complete.
So you got a whole lot more to do today.
Got a lot to do, sir.
And I'm not trying to be you, Doc. I'm not even going to lie to you.
I know I have. I don't understand the significance of working 8 hours a day. I haven't done that in over 50 years.
8 hours? That's a lot of time too, Doc.
I know it is.
That's a lot of time. I'm trying to get America to cut back on the hours at work and focus on the hours at home a little bit more family time. So see if we can get it to maybe a 4-day work week.
We need 4 days work week. And,
6-hour days.
That's all we need.
I think we'd be best. Better. I think we'll be more productive.
We will.
We'll get a lot more done with our families, kids, friends. I think it'll be an all-around better way of doing things.
But it'll take 100 years for that to happen.
No, it won't, Doc. It just take one good election, and that's why I want to talk to you today. It's just going to take one good election. Let me move this around so I can adjust my chest some. I think it'll take one good election, Doc, and here's why.
Tell me why. I need to know why.
Oh, yeah, because you know me. I'm all into the research, find out what's going on. Now, this one, I didn't expect to find.
What you didn't expect to find?
I did not expect to find these particular numbers.
Talk to me.
But when I found it, it was like, that makes sense. All right, so we've already watching the news. It's Democrat, Republican, and those are our two main parties. Why are they our main parties? Well, because they bought the news channels, Doc. The Democrats own this news channel, the Republicans own this one. And we're thinking that these are the options. What I found out yesterday, maybe the day before that, I'm looking at the percentages of people and how they classify themselves. 25% of America classify themselves as Democrat. 25% of the people classify themselves as Republican. 47% of America classify themselves as an independent. So now, what does that tell you right off the bat? That if given an option of a decent candidate, America's going to choose the independent over Democrat and Republican. The reason we don't believe in that is because they own the news. They own the narrative. They own the debates. They own the delegates. They claim that it's Democratic delegate, the DNC, it's the RNC. You don't hear about an INC. You don't hear about a network that caters to independence. Those varied ideas that are outside of the DNR. We're not seeing it because the independents never bought news networks. They didn't pay your morning show guy. They didn't pay your evening, your Ride at 5 guy, your morning girls, the table of ladies. They didn't pay them to push that narrative. So that's why I'm looking at this debate and saying we can change things. 47% of America claim to be independent. We just got to go vote like that. That's all. We just got to go vote different. 25% of the people are Democrat, 25% Republican. You put those two together, we still winning.
Now, have you thought about, sir?
Plus or minus 3%, of course.
Of course. But have you thought about that 47% that is not controlling either party, Republican or Democrat?
Right.
They are going to be persuaded by both parties to give their input, and they will be able to do so, and they will get some benefit. but they will not be able to get most of the things they want on the political sphere, such as economic development, liberalism, and
Now,
certain areas, in my opinion.
Now, question, is that because the House and the Senate are controlled right now by Democrats and Republicans?
That's a fact.
But if we go in 2024 in November and put independents in, they don't have to beg for anything from the Democrats and Republicans. See, that's what I'm looking at, Doc, is everybody's up for election in November. A lot of people don't know that. Most of the House, most of Congress is up for election this November. We could clean the House. We could clean the Senate. We could get we could get a president in there who got some sense. And I was just saying on a previous show, I am leaning towards Kennedy as an option. I'm not real big on the family names and, trying to put us in this system of where we keep electing the same people in the same family. I'm not in that system of things, but I'm looking at, if we don't have but them three, then I'm gonna go at Kennedy. I'd rather see him than Trump or Biden. At least he has an understanding of mental health and addiction and the need for America to start going to therapy. At least he knows that.
Well, sir, I want you to tell me, since I don't know anything about politics and many other things, how are you going to make this happen when the man is not going to be a candidate for the position? He's not going to be written in by enough people to get him in office. The Republicans know the Democrats going to allow him to get on the ticket this late. The time has already passed. He doesn't have the ability to pay the Supreme Court to make the change. So how can that happen?
Well, currently he is fighting to get on the ballots in all 50 states. I believe that there is a report saying that by the time November gets here, he should be on the ballot in all 50 states. That's something he has to deal with. I'm not in that, I don't know how that works. Still learning this politics myself. However, we have to get the message out there. I think most of America still believes that it's 50% Democrat, 50% Republican. I think that's what we instinctively believe. We believe
that's what we've been told, basically.
Yeah.
There's usually a 2% difference in the polls.
Right.
No matter what you see or whoever is doing the polls, the one that's paid going to say the Democrats are in the majority. The other groups, if the Republicans, their surveyors going to say the Republicans are 2 or 3% the highest. And that's the way it's supposed to be. You're supposed to do what the people pay you to do because you are working in a dishonorable situation, and you know you are because you're working for money. And you ask them, what do you want me to show in this survey? And you structure your questions on the basis of what they want you to do. And then you get the results you want.
And it's strange that you say that, because I was watching a show with Dr. Phil the other day, and he was saying, so the food companies are giving us unhealthy food and they're paying you to tell us it's healthy. So the scientists, the doctors are all on the pay scale, on the payroll to misinform the people. Just like we were just talking a moment ago before the show, if a company recalls 300 coffee brands because of E. coli, 300 brands. I thought it was 3,000, but it was 300 brands. Then there's not 300 different coffee brands. There's one coffee brand with 300 different labels. Because if they were made separately, then you would only need to recall the one that had a problem. So clearly they're getting the beans from the same place. They're using the same beans. They put them together the same way, and they shipping them out to America with 300 different price points. And we have a illusion of choice.
Well, you have to understand, it will take at least 30 years for most Americans to believe that. because they believe that there are a lot of independent companies that make the products we use, and some are quality products, some are less quality, and you can't tell them otherwise. They don't seem to understand that the company will make 300,000 products or items for company X, continue the assembly line, and put a new label on the next 300,000 products made from the same ingredients.
So what is it about us that the name? I guess the name brand was the sale first, right?
Of course.
They basically branded us mentally, and they trained us
to say that's the top quality product.
right.
And they charge more because they advertise and have to pay more for advertising to get us brainwashed. And if you think that Coca-Cola is better than any other product, that's what you're going to buy first.
Right.
And you will pay 5 to 7% more for a Coke product or anything you love versus something else that's the same thing.
So it's basically our ignorance.
Well,
is what
you might want to call it ignorance.
Is it ignorance?
It might be something else. You just have not been informed, and you don't want to do any independent thinking, and you just go by what you believe and what you've been told. And if certain people say it, that have what we call
credibility,
authority, and the dispensation of information, and they control those units in the social media, radio, television, newspapers.
They do.
All kinds of media. You have to believe what you hear the most.
Now, when you say stuff like that, you have to believe what you hear the most. I mean, it goes straight to Hitler. That's what Hitler said.
That's exactly the way it's done, sir.
That's what Hitler said. He said, if you repeat a lie enough, they're going to believe it.
Of course.
And that's the propaganda style. And they're all using it. So what I'm hoping is America will say right now, 47% of America consider themselves independent thinkers.
Well, I can tell you, Mr. Williams, they will not be saying that up to November 2024.
We're going to make them.
It'll take 50 years. Now, if you can make them do so in a few months,
that's the thing.
And you are worse than Hitler.
No, not worse than Hitler. No, it's called more God power. Okay. See, we're going to use God power on them. Okay. See, we just need to plant some seeds that sprout. See, I go in my Instagram and I see somebody talking about Joe Biden and they saying, y'all just need to leave Joe Biden alone. He's the candidate and we need to just push forward. No. See, he's your candidate. Now, 47% of America represent the independents. We may not have the news media behind us, but we got still good common sense. We still saw that debate, and we saw two turds up there debating each other. One's a lying piece of and the other's just delude. We just let that go. That one we not even going to address because it's so sad that they're not even saying, "Hey, man, it's time to go and be a advisor." It's time to be an advisor. You did your job.
Let me tell you,
I'm just saying,
you don't want to understand and believe.
Can't we be an advisor?
What you can, but the thing is, the people that are managing the Republican and Democratic candidates don't want a strong person there. They want a weak person so they can control him. I've been telling you for years and others, the president does not have to be strong. There are no qualifications other than age and that he must be a citizen of the United States.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to have a certain degree of education. He doesn't have to have a certain degree of money. All he has to do is have the power enough with enough people behind him to get in position. And the weaker he is, the better he is, because those people that put him in office are going to write his scripts. They're going to give him legislation that he and his people would pass to benefit them. And they want him to be able to listen to them. And the weaker he is, with less independence, the more he's going to give them what they want. So I wouldn't want a strong president if I had the ability to pay someone to be the representative of my nation.
And I understand that as a corporation, giving the donations, as a bank or someone who has international agenda. I wouldn't want a strong president. And that's the problem, is we're allowing 1, 2, 3 people's agendas to choose our president because they have so much money. See, we have to get some sense in our heads and say that that is what they want. Us to always have a weak president, for us to always have someone who will let them have their way. But if we look outside these windows, we look at these children's future, we don't need a weak president that 1, 2, 3 corporations can control. We need a custom them out president, somebody who's not trying to hear that. Somebody who's saying, look, y'all been paying these same wages for 50 years. This is what's going to happen. Trickle down my ass. You finna fund all these programs to lift them up. That's what you're going to do.
Well, sir, I have a thing to share with you.
Yes, sir.
If you had a president that strong, he wouldn't be president, I hate to say it, 2 months in the future.
Why you say that, Doc?
Because he will have a chance to be relieved through several means, which I'm not going to mention, but I guarantee you.
Yeah, don't put them. I think he could do it.
Oh, he can be done, but
and handle the business.
I wouldn't expect one to do it. It takes a bold man or woman to do that, because you just love living more than you do being acceptable.
Love living.
That's right.
Well, then they should let me be president, because I like living. It's all right. But going home is way better.
Well, you talk that propaganda to people that don't believe there's no such thing as going home.
Well,
people look at home on earth.
They
pretend they are going to heaven, but most people care nothing about heaven. Most people care nothing about this so-called golden gate up there in heaven and the honey road and all this kind of thing, being with God and the angels. Who cares about that? Some talk about it, but they know down in their hearts they care less about it. They want to have as much capitalism and influence as they can while they're alive, and fool a few people and make them think that they are righteous men and women and they're going to do the right thing while they're on earth. And we know they're not going to do it, because that's not the American way. That's not the way of the people of the world.
It's currently, just like we just talked about, we think that the world, based on what we see, we think that the United States, based on what we see, is half Democrat, half Republican.
It's not.
It is not. So what we think is what we are seeing, and that may not be the truth and the reality.
I can agree with that.
So when we have 47% of the American people who won't change, they're choosing not to be Republican or Democrat. I think we have that same group of people who will stand behind us as we push forward that change, as we put Congress out, as we change the way we do business, as we take those piles of paperwork and burn them, as we put the families back in the priority seat. I think that the 40% of America who represents the independent mindset will be the fighters that protect us as we move forward. I think that the Democrat, Republican TV buying channel asses want us to stay in that fear that we can't change.
Of course.
They want us to feel like it's nothing we can do.
That's correct.
When we could do it like that, Doc. 40s, when I saw that, Doc, I had hope, Doc. I got hope now. I was actually feeling bad the past couple of days. I was really, then you came, you called me and had a little idea too to help me with the situations I'm dealing with. And then this was thrown in my way like, hey, look at this. 47 of the people identify with free thinking. They don't want to be in that little box of Democrat, Republican. That's 47% of America. So I'm like, wait a minute, how come we don't know that? Why don't we know that? Why do we think it's half Democrat, half Republican? And we think independent is this big. I mean, when I woke up Monday, I thought independents were this big when it comes to numbers, Doc.
Well, you see, you've been misled.
I have been. Where did they mislead me, or did I fail to seek?
Well, both.
I didn't seek knowledge. I was accepting what I saw, and they fed to me. It was like, here's another sandwich of doo-doo. I'm going to eat it because this is all they giving me. And that's what they keep doing. They're saying, hey, here's some doo-doo. This is all you got a choice for. And that if you just reach over here and turn the page, it's a steak and cheese sandwich. But if you just keep taking what they giving you, it's like what Herman said with welfare. If you only take the welfare they're handing you, you will never see that you can provide better for your family if you get a job.
I can agree with that 100%. That has been proven throughout the world that if you look to become independent, determine your own destiny when it comes to what I call economic development, you will be a better person and a better family and a better nation or a community.
Yeah. So I think some of the things we put in place to help people are creating problems.
Of course.
They're
and that's what
crippling us.
it's designed to do, to create problems and make you think I can get more if I'm dependent on the government or the corporate entities to give me what I need. Then I don't have to work hard. I just lay low, eat bad food, have no job at all, survive on a daily basis with no future guarantees, and all I want to do is be happy until I die. That's for most Americans, most people throughout the world. When I say most, I'm talking about 52 to 53% of them.
Yeah, it's really strange how you kind of you said that and it just it hits hard when you say you want to just depend on the government for the food. Now, when you were young, that wasn't the case.
Of course.
So in your whole lifetime, you can attest to everything you ate was from somebody's garden close by. Somebody caught that fish. Somebody shot that deer. We harvested. We took that pig to the slaughterhouse, took that cow. You knew that cow name you were eating.
That's a fact.
You fed those chickens you were eating and that duck. So in your lifetime, you saw us feeding ourselves. So if we stop right there from your childhood, let's go backwards. So for tens of thousands of years, we've been able to feed ourselves without a corporate giant. Just with the land and the fruit trees and the plums and the cabbages and the watermelons over here and the squirrels and the rabbits that we ate, the deers. We ate all of those things when I was growing up young. Raccoons too. Granddaddy said don't eat the possum, but they ate the raccoon.
Well, they ate the possum where I came from. That's the best animal around. Eat it today.
Okay, so Granddaddy said don't eat the possum, so I never ate the possum, but I've had that raccoon.
But I ate the possum.
I'm not saying nothing because if you cook that possum, I'm gonna taste it.
Well, you will have a good dish if you do. You better not bake it.
Put some sweet potatoes on them, I guess.
You bake that possum and put some other ingredients with it. I guarantee you want to eat him 3 meals a day. I guarantee.
That's why I'm not against none of them being eaten. That's why I say people always talk about China eating dogs and rats. Look, you probably ain't never had a dog. It might be delicious. You never know. Cat
If you're
might
talking
be
about Chinese
fantastic.
food and a lot of Asian food that's being sold in America, if you would check out some of those ingredients, you'll probably find just that in some of those products.
I'm gonna tell you like this: they caught a place, and allegedly, back when my mom and them were working back in the days, and they said that they had 2 menus, one for Americans and then one for the Asian customers, and they said that sometimes they had dogs and cats in there.
That was good. That's where it's supposed to be. That's part of your culture.
It's your culture.
What you want.
Right. I don't have a problem with that at all. I'm like, we go to India, we can't have hamburgers. Those cows are sacred. So it's just the American mindset. My thing is, some of the best Asian food I have ever had to this day came out of that restaurant. I still look for like who has who has some sweet and sour chicken as good as the Dynasty had back in the days. That might not even been chicken. That might be why it was so good.
Exactly.
So I'm healthy. I'm alive. I think it's mindset and where you were brought up is what you base those things on anyway. So I think that we're so close right now, Doc, in 2024 to say we can change government for the future like that. We don't have to wait those 10, 20, 300 years. If we can get the American people to see that, hey, the majority of us ain't crazy. It's just the ones they keep showing us on TV. Not when you're at Walmart, Doc. Not when you at the store over here at the Costco. When I'm at Sam's, this white guy is helping me put my stuff in the basket. When I'm over here at the gas station, Hakeem is helping me. You know what I'm saying? Pick the right thing that I need. When I'm over here, Charles is very appreciative that I help him push his car out the street when he got a flat. I'm seeing good people everywhere. Except on the internet and TV. And TV, lunatics. But out here in public, it's just like when Project HueManity, when I went around the country and was trying to talk to people before the 2020 election to find out what's happening. Like, these are not my people I'm seeing on TV. I found that the news was lying then. And it is no different today, Doc.
Well, it's because, Mr. Williams, people like you that believe what you believe have one major problem.
A problem?
And that is you all don't control the channels of information.
Oh, yeah.
And if you don't control the channels of information, those that do are going to tell you exactly what they want you to believe and prove through surveys and unknown facts that they are telling the truth. And that's where it's supposed to be. Those that have the power are supposed to rule. Those that don't supposed to be ruled, and that's the way it is.
Okay, now,
like it or not.
I hear you. So, and that being the state of those in power rule. Well, we're going to have a shift of power, Doc.
Of course.
See, and this is the way I like to look at it. If I had on a gold chain, all these beads were gold beads, and this one in the middle was a diamond, then man of today has said that the gold and the diamond are extremely valuable. So that's an expensive necklace because man of today stated that. Now, if I personally decide to give it value and I say diamond, that's garbage. Gold, we got a lot of that. That's trash. How did you find those blue beads? Where did you get those selenite from? Where did you get those steel beads from? That is beautiful. And I give this value. And then this is more than the gold. And this little piece here is more than the diamond. Then this has value in the world.
That's correct.
So if someone believes what I said and they throw the gold to the side and it has no value, nobody's picking it up. Nobody's trying to get that. But if I told you blue beads, that's the ticket, and I'll pay whatever for it, you go out and break your arms and legs to get the blue beads. That's the value. So what we've put value on, we have to pull back from it. It's like a teacher compared to an entertainer. Who's more important?
Well, currently, throughout the world, the entertainer is more important. We know that's a fact. Or the teacher should be. The entertainer makes more money. He or she has less preparation. The teacher puts years in the what we call institutions of learning from pre-K through graduate school.
Yeah.
The entertainer could come up with less than a high school education, and in 3 months, he or she can be a billionaire if they spear out enough garbage to make people think what they're saying is important. And then they're going to disappear in a few years because they can't manage their resources, and the teacher doesn't have anything to manage, but he or she will still be out there teaching the children of the people that are failing every day.
And somehow we decided that because someone can sing or dance or catch a football, their value is more important than the person who we send all of our children to see every Monday through Friday, 5, and that person is going, like you said, the preparation, not just from the school aspect of it, but the fact that they care enough to go home and put together lesson plans. They go into their own pockets and they see that their student doesn't have a backpack or pens. Their family might not be able to afford certain things, and the teacher goes into their person and they wallets and get it. So we're looking at a total value system of crazy corruption. The guy who goes and digs the ditch so that we can get water to our house makes less than the guy who said, you know what, if we run the line down here and turn this way, we can get it to your house. Huh?
Well, that's the way it's supposed to be. That's the way it's supposed to be.
What?
The one with the solution should be the one to be paid more.
Well, once again, why is it so much about the way we're doing it? And let's, I'm not trying to make this way make sense. I'm trying to make it make no sense. So when we're talking about he should make more money, well, no, he shouldn't. He's already doing less work. See, if I said we should go down here, and because it's an incline, the water will flow, and then we make this right and dig down 30 degrees, and we'll have it in your house without any problems. I know that works because I studied some math and I know some engineering. Now you're finna go out here and make that happen. You're finna go make that happen. You're gonna go dig that trench and make that happen. You should make more than me.
But it's not designed that way in the world, in the knowledge of the world.
Then see, that's the thing. The world doesn't have any knowledge if that's the case. That's not knowledge, Doc.
Well,
that's ignorant.
False knowledge.
Right.
See, the thing you want to promote is the fact that what's best for you is not what's best for you. What's best for you and others is what I tell you is best. The one that works the hardest is the one that's the smartest. That's what you have to think about, and that's reality in the world. It's not who is digging the hole. It's the one that can tell you you don't have to have the hole to get the water, because this is the way to do it. And my way is scientifically proven to work, whether it will work or not.
Well, I'll say this. As long as we allow it, then it will continue.
Of course, it will.
We have to start pulling back against the stupid. Somebody who can tell me to take the tire off does not make more than the person who takes the tire off. The garbage man who out here working hard and throwing those cans, he may not have an education and he may not have this and all these degrees. But guess what? If he stops going to work, it cripples the economy.
Just for a short period of time, then they will find others to take his job.
But what if they can't? What if they can't find it?
Always.
What if they can't?
Another tomorrow, because all you have to do is tell him that you get ready to replace him with. You are better than the one that I'm going to give you a new job.
And I see what you're saying now. Okay, so you're saying that the convenience of replacement creates your value.
Of course. That happened
Okay.
during the strikes when they had all these union strikes.
Okay.
They can always find people to take those strike breakers,
Okay.
pay them 10 cents more an hour, and they'll come in and get those jobs, even
right.
if they have to fight to get them.
Okay, so let's discuss that then. So the easy replacement makes your job less valuable.
Of course.
Okay, so let's talk about some of these jobs that make a lot of money. Let's talk about basketball players, singers, dancers, and all that. If I get up every day and I don't do anything but play basketball, then I'm going to be good at basketball. Because that's all I do.
Well, you should be.
So I can replace you with anybody who gets up every morning and does the same thing.
That's true. And you're going to have just a few to replace me with, and they're going to make more money. When you replace me with somebody, they're going to make more money than I make in most cases.
I think we've both seen enough people in the streets and at these colleges and that are better than some of the people in the NBA. They don't get a chance to play in the NBA. See, there's a lot of people who don't get a chance, who never are seen.
Well, you don't want too many people to get the chance.
But see, we're looking at the payment, though. The easier to replace, right?
Well, you want to have the people that you can control to get those big paying jobs. You want to get a player, listen, you want to get a player that's not too smart academically, that has a focused mind to run that ball or shoot that ball, one that can't manage his affairs, one that knows that if he has a different mate once he gets rich versus one he had when he was struggling, that he'll be more acceptable and more important. Because you have trained him that way. You have told them that in your counseling sessions, that this person will hold you back. You need to get the one that I'm recommending to push you forward. Let me manage your affairs. Listen to me. I have this degree from Duke University, from Georgetown. I can make you rich. I can make you popular. Let me be your advisor. They will take it in a minute because they have not been taught otherwise. The parents didn't know it.
That sounds familiar.
The coaches didn't know it on the lower level. The teachers didn't know it to share that with them. But the teachers knew, though, and the principals told them, if this boy is good in this sport, you better not flunk it. You better not do it because you're going to be gone. And they let them pass.
And man, have they done it. They've let so many pass. And we act like they didn't. We try to act like that didn't happen. We try to act like, oh, he was in class and he was a star student, and we forgot. They didn't go to class. They played ball. They didn't have to go. Like
they had two jobs. I'm going to interfere with you now and break it so we make this thing short. They had two jobs. One is to stay alive, and number two, to go out there and perform through many hours of practice and be in the top 2 or 3%.
Keep entertaining us.
That's all you got to do. Because when you're getting entertained, you don't do any real serious thinking. You admire others, so you don't think about your situation. You can have some hard times in the back of your mind, but if you see someone out there shooting 30 and 40 points a game, some of them half court, you're going to forget about your ills. You're going to forget about the stresses in your life for a while. And then when you leave there, you're going to go and celebrate all night and get drunk in most cases, go home for 2 or 3 days, call in on Monday and Tuesday saying you can't come to work because you're sick, get you a doctor's excuse, give him $100 extra, and that the secretary writes you an excuse, and you go and keep life going. That's the way it is in the world in most places, sir.
We are in a circle. A repeated circle. And that's something I noticed during my COVID break. I started to sit back and look at how much of our lives are repeated, because that's what created a change in my life back in 2006. It was like I had this wow moment where I knew what every person was finna say in a conversation. It's like, he's finna say this. He's going to say this, and then we're going to laugh. And then he's going to say that, and we're going to laugh. And then he's going to say this. And when I did that, I said, I need to move. It's time for me to leave Mississippi. And I left. It was because I saw myself, I'm in a circle. I'm doing the same thing on Monday. I'm doing the same thing on Tuesdays, on Wednesdays, on Thursdays, on Fridays. And then we repeat.
Let me tell you something. That's what most of you all did. You all let those 3 years of what I call COVID vacation ruin your life, ruin your family, messed you up psychologically because you did everything you were told to do. I didn't take not one day off for COVID. I went to work every day during those years that you all supposed to be at home sleeping and scared to death, thinking you're going to die. And not only did I go every day, I mean 7 days a week. I haven't stopped yet.
You work by yourself, though, Doc.
No, I work with others through consultations and through experts. Anything I can't do, I'll hire somebody to do it.
Well, I'm
I
not
don't
going
need a lot of folks.
My situation was kind of strange. I ended up going through a divorce during COVID. So
nothing wrong with a good divorce if it's a good one. You're supposed to divorce.
Wasn't nothing good
if
about
it's
it.
Necessary.
Wasn't nothing good about it, Doc.
Okay.
I'll just say my situation was what it was, and I didn't go like I wasn't hurrying back to work. I saw it as an opportunity to get closer to God because, like I said, I was going through the divorce, so there's a lot of pain and suffering going on, and so when you're going through pain and suffering, that's when you usually find God. So,
well, that's what I call a false God.
No,
that same God was out there before you went through that divorce.
We was cool.
And let me tell you something. And if you hadn't have been hanging around home with that person you divorced, you would have still had that person. Now, I'm not talking about you personally, but that's what's wrong with a lot of folks. They went through a divorce during COVID, and then they blame it on COVID. They knew that person they had a lot of flaws. They had a lot of flaws themselves, but you act like they didn't happen because you were leaving those people every day, coming back home late at night, seeing the flaws, saying nothing about it, and went on away from them the next day. And when you got stuck with them, over 30 days, you found out you don't even know the person. They don't even look like they've been looking. And they have a new personality in your mind, and it's the same person that you married.
I can
or the one that you were shacking with, or the one that you were dating. Nothing new about it.
I think a lot of people went through exactly what you're talking about.
Of course,
I really do. I don't think that's exactly what happened in my situation. No, not so much that the COVID. Like I said, I took it as an opportunity to get closer to God, and the reason I did it was like an extension of. So I was already in that seeking moment. And I think that COVID kind of happened at a time that was bad because we were both seeking God. And I think that from what I'm understanding now, at least about myself, I think that the change and the transition of this new information was affecting us in such a way it created a separation more than a bringing together. So I'll say that the continuation of our seeking kind of